Hi, it's John here from itsmorethanjustgaming.com, and this is the third part in our Dungeons and Dragons series using a homebrew setting. I am joined this evening by Pete playing Maury Half-Fist, Dwarven Monk and Apothecary. Say hello, Pete.
Hello. I'd like to add on to that, Dwarven Monk and Apothecary of questionable morality. I think we've now established that.
Yes, that was established by your role-playing in session 1 and 2. Also, Amy, who has the website writingintotheether.com, who will be playing the human druid Violetta. Say hello, Amy.
Hello.
Are you also of questionable morality?
I think so. I'm just trying to find out who I am.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you could be a complete sociopath. We don't know yet. Although you did rob a dead guy who had helped you out.
To be fair, we were getting our own money back.
Yeah.
That's still called theft when you've paid him for a service.
He wasn't using it.
Anyway, in the last session, you fled. You were in the Mariner Fens fighting some monstrosy type creatures that looked like grey-skinned humanoids with black eyes that were puking up water on everyone else, and then the people they were puking up on were also turning into creatures like that. Professor Oakenhearth pulled out a vial and threw it into an open space, thankfully, and it caused a wee vortex and then a door, and you were able to escape along a sort of like a stone path through a dark realm into to a door at the end of the stone path. And when you opened the door, you all sort of like barreled out into an antique shop. It is a very, very neat and tidy and clean antique shop with lots and lots of cool and funky trinkets and odds and ends on all the shelves. And standing in the middle of the shop, about 6'6", wearing a sort of like a maroon blazer and trousers and a white waistcoat, is a red dragonborn with a monocle. And he says, I see you've returned, Professor.
John, can I just ask, when we say we step out, do we kind of all pile down in a heap, or...?
Yes.
Okay.
You also hear just above you flapping of wings.
So we have a half-orc like on top of us right now.
We can roll to see who's... you know what? The dwarves are going to be the slowest, so actually more likely the half-orc's going to get through the door first, will be rammed into by the druid, which will do it will do nothing because he's a half-orc and you're a human, and he is more martial than you are, and then you're going to be collided with by two dwarves, and that is going to knock you all through the door. So the half-orc, mercifully, is at the bottom.
Oh, good.
And neither of the dwarves are fighters or clerics.
Well,
get off.
They're not wearing chain or plate, Pete.
Flying suplex. Okay.
So yes,
stand up and brush myself off. Where exactly are we? What just happened? Who are you? I say to the Dragonborn.
You're
He's obviously the collector, though, isn't he?
You saying that out loud?
Yeah.
I am,
see.
yes.
And I'll go up and try and shake his hand and say, "Hi, I've heard absolutely nothing about you."
He looks down at your hand, which is manky, and yes, I've heard very little about you and your friend. I'm pleased to see you are alive. Professor, I didn't realize you were going to be bringing vermin with you.
Whoa. Rude. Okay, so I'll back off at this point and just be like, wow, and then just like start busying myself looking around at the stuff that he's got.
I just sort of try and lean over. I think he may have been referring to you. I whisper to Thok, sorry, the orc.
Roll a dice to see if Thok's antagonized.
Shouldn't you be doing that?
Actually, I was referring to the bird. But I am not particularly...
Bird?
Yes, the owl that flew in with you. Professor,
I
I wasn't going to leave him behind. He goes with me everywhere. You can see that an owl is now perched on one of the shelves. And the Dragonborn is eyeing it irritably or nervously. You're not quite sure.
So, does the owl have a name?
Oh, that's North.
North.
Yes, he's my companion. He helps me when I'm out in the wilderness.
Okay, like so I'm feeling a little bit more at ease now that I wasn't called Vermin. Just after he looked at my hand and saw how manky it was, I thought, oh, he's calling me Vermin. So yeah, I kind of loosened up at that point.
He still didn't take your hand.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So can I see anything of interest around as I kind of look? I know you said there were lots of trinkets and things. Would I recognize anything?
Let's go for a perception check.
Okay. Do. Gosh, can't remember how to do this now. Plus, sorry, got all the papers. Was that perception?
Yes.
wisdom plus.
Plus 6. 17.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can see there are lots of little knickknacks, like little. There are some sort of like little metal boxes of different shapes, some wooden boxes. There are little statues, figurines, glass sculptures, glasses. You can see there are the occasional small weapons on the shelves. There are glass orbs. Lots and lots of things. You're not in. You think some of them might look like nice little decorations. Some of them might have other purpose. You can see that there are scrolls with weird writing on them that you don't recognize. Just lots and lots of curiosities.
Could I try to? I don't know. I've never had to like detect magic before, but could I try and detect magic, but like stealthily? Is there any way of doing that? Because I
believe detect magic is a spell.
It's a well, I can do it as a ritual, but it takes 10 minutes to cast. So I don't know if it's like an incantation type thing or.
It will say verbal, somatic, etc. on the spell entry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll probably be. You'd have a hard job doing it stealthily right in front of the proprietor.
Yeah.
And certainly as a ritual, no chance.
Sorry?
Certainly as a ritual, you would not be able to do it as stealthily.
I'm just going to sit on the floor here for 10 minutes. Components are verbal, so yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Magic, are you here?
No!
Okay. And the Dragonborn says, Professor, what is that doing here? And he points at Thok, who is picking himself up off the ground, having, now that everyone who had landed on top of him is not on top of him.
I'm just going to start chipping. This is our newfound friend, our staunch ally, who I'm sure is going to be very helpful, and we won't have to turn into the authorities for being a pirate. I'm right, haven't I, Thok?
Well, I guess, like, is he wanted in this town? I mean...
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
Very well, but he is under your care.
Yes, you are, aren't you, Thok?
There is the orc seems a little bit. The half orc Thok seems a little bit shaken, and is not quite as brash or obnoxious or as scary as you might normally associate with someone whose description includes the words pirate and half orc.
Can I relay the events of our arrival to the proprietor and just sort of say, so this is what we were fighting before we went over. John, there's a warning appeared on Roll20.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see it as well. But everything seems to be still running fine, and it's gone away on my screen as well. It's
Okay.
just a sort of bandwidth thing, and I think one of my one of my connections is timed out, but it'll be fine.
Okay. But yeah, I'd like to just explain to the proprietor, we were exploring the ancient ruins and we were finding all sorts of amazing stuff. And we fought what was it called again?
That was a vine blight.
Thank you. We fought a vine blight and saw similar things in one place. Then we were attacked by what appeared to be we thought at first was Thok's crew, but then they started spewing water over each other and then turning into monsters again.
Yeah, they were like these weird swamp monster creatures, like dead in the eyes. They look awful.
The Dragonborn says, curious. Very well. Well, as I say, I have no particular relationship with the authorities within this city. So long as he causes no trouble within my shop, he is welcome to stay.
How does Thok feel about all this? Out of interest.
There will be no trouble from me.
Okay, so you mean we can say
thank you. Thank you. Oh, the Dragonborn says, "Oh no, you can't stay here, but there is some business to conclude, Professor, and some business with your companions as well. Not that." And he sort of like gestures to Thok again. I understand. I believe I am owed a journal. The professor who was carrying the lantern and the journal that you retrieved from the village. Yes, of course. Your information was correct, as it often is. And she hands over the journal to him and says, "Excellent. And our business on this particular venture is concluded. I just need to sort out your companion's final payment for this venture."
Can we remember the lantern always pointed in a certain direction, didn't it?
It did. Well remembered. It is still pointing. It is basically, there is a beam of light pointing at one wall.
I'm just going to sort of indicate it. So you're a collector of rare and strange antiquities, yes?
Yes.
Have you ever encountered something like this before?
Not exactly like this, but but it's not an uncommon theme. Perhaps it's telling you it wants to go home.
Oh, so it's like a tracker, and it like points in the direction of where it wants to go,
or where it thinks it belongs.
Oh,
I smell a quest.
Are you going to take it there yourself?
Me?
Well, no, me, I presume. But
no. I mean the Dragonborn, because he just got it handed to him?
No, he got a journal handed to him.
Oh,
the professor kept the lantern.
Oh, okay.
That says I will have to take this lantern to the Art Society to basically log and begin some assessments on it, but I dare say there will be an expedition of sorts to follow it back to the source. Can I keep you two in mind for that expedition?
Certainly.
Please do.
Perhaps 3. As you say, Chiron, these two are owed payment for excellent service. Despite a very dangerous trip, we arrived back here relatively unharmed and potentially with a new ally. So please pay them as was discussed. And he says, "As you wish." I suppose, pardon my... No, I suppose introductions are in order, as we have not done that yet, says the Red Dragonborn. My name is Chiron. and this is the antiquarium. You are in the city of Kingstown, which you would both know is the capital of the region. Although common sense might have dictated that just from the name. But you are both well aware, as common knowledge, that this is actually the capital of the region, and you'll be able to see on screen there. Kingstown is maybe about, let's see, 25 kilometers north of the Mariner Fens, the edge of the Mariner Fens, and it is a coastal town.
Okay, so I'll wipe my hand on my cloak, or I'm guessing I'm wearing a traveling garb, and I'll just go, okay, introductions, yes, that's what I wanted, and then just say I'm Vi, and then give him my hand again to shake.
He considers it for a second and takes it. His hand is massive compared to yours.
Would I have met a Dragonborn before, or?
You've probably met a Dragonborn. You might not have met a red one because they're in this world, in this setting, they're fairly rare, except in very specific places on very specific missions, which your character might not know about, given that you're new to this realm. Pete, your character would know that red Dragonborns are quite rare, except in a place called the Cauldron, and as emissaries of the Cauldron, which is a land to the north of this kingdom. It's a sort of like a volcanic region where fire giants craft many of this world's magical items. The red Dragonborn normally serve as their emissaries and are not seen except in that
capacity.
In that capacity, thank you. This one seems to be different.
Out of interest, what is his build like? Is he strong looking, or is he? I know he's a Dragonborn; they tend to be large and bulky, but does he look?
Yeah, like I know what you mean.
Trained fighter.
He is not particularly muscular for a Dragonborn, but he still looks big.
So, tell me, how does one such as yourself come to be running an antique shop somewhere so far south? It is rare to see your kind scattered around.
In my youth, I was much like yourself, I dare say, venturing.
Sorry,
Professor, which one is the brains of these two?
Well, that's questionable, really. I mean, I don't claim to be smart.
I'm fairly smart. I just have a bad sense of humor because I've got low charisma.
He looks a little bit perplexed. No, I ventured out into performing dungeon delves, working for the society. Some of the professor's predecessors, I dare say, I have done my share of, I suppose you would call it mercenary work. Along the way, I have picked up a few trinkets. More than that, I've made quite a lot of contacts along the way, and now people, and more than a little bit of gold. Now people come to me for information and leads on things, and in return, they bring me what you see, as you saw.
As we've been looking around, as you've been indicating, and you mentioned before there were some small weapons.
Yes.
Is there anything that resembles an axe of any sort?
Funny you should ask that. One actually propped up on the counter. There is actually a block on the counter where an axe is resting.
Okay.
It is. It's got a fairly solid haft. It is a hand axe, a one-handed axe, and the blade is reversed more like a crescent moon than a standard chopping blade. For you know how an axe blade would be concave. This is convex.
Interesting.
Sorry, this is concave, not convex. Sorry, I got them muddled.
Yeah. So it's curved. It's in rather than out. Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, what is this?
I did not catch your name, dwarf.
My name is Mori Half-Fist.
Pleased to meet you.
And make your acquaintance as well, sir.
Let us be about our business. I have payment for both of you. And as fortune would have it for you, Pete, the first thing he picks up is that very specific axe.
Oh.
And he says, I believe this is intended for you. And he hands it to you.
I take it over and sort of heft the weight a little bit.
It's very well balanced. It feels good in your hands. Pete, this is a +1 hand axe. So that'll do 1d6 +1 slashing damage.
And +1 to hit.
Yes, +1 to hit as well. It counts as light and it can be thrown. The blade is the shape of the crescent moon. Chiron continues speaking. This axe, like many of the things in my shop, has a forgotten past. And generally, when they are intended for someone, that past will be remembered or will awaken in the right hands.
Mm.
When you handle it for the first time, the blade glows white for a brief second. Could you make a perception check, please, Pete?
I can certainly try. Oops, I just slashed that.
Yeah, that's enough. When it glows, your eyes sort of like dart onto the blade. The blade is big enough that you can actually make out for just the barest second there is an image in the blade. It looks like a pool. It's sort of like a pool in amongst trees, and you can see an elven woman wearing a shift, just sort of like walking past the pool, and then the image is gone.
So is this carved? No, this isn't carved on the blade. This is like a image flash in my mind.
Yes, this is an image that you see in the blade. It is not carved in the blade. The blade is smooth.
Okay. Okay.
I believe the blade is indeed intended for you. It has never done that before. Excellent.
Okay. I'm going to sort of hand it over and then just sort of spend some time practicing moving with it.
Okay. Yeah. You will be able to use it as a monk weapon as well, Pete, for the purposes of monk weapon rules. He then goes behind the counter where there are some slightly larger items, and he pulls out a quarterstaff. It is a fairly smooth-looking quarterstaff, which he hands over to Violetta.
Ooh, so does this one look like very different from my own? Like it's very well made compared, or
it looks very well made. In fact, it looks very solid. It looks yours probably looks a bit more natural than this one.
Mm-hmm.
But this one looks to be of very good quality, and he hands it to you.
Wow! Oh wow!
When you touch it, and just as his hands are leaving, he yelps slightly, and you can see him sort of like pulling his hands away and shaking them as if something might have stung him, bit him, burned him, scalded him, shocked him, something like that.
So I don't feel anything at all?
No.
Oh, so it makes me jump that he jumps back so quickly, and I'm like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? And so
curious.
Okay.
It recognizes you and does not like me. Interesting.
I mean, I like you. It's no reflection on you. I mean, I didn't mean for it to happen.
No, this was not you. Curious. I will need to research that later. As with your dwarven associate's axe, this has the past of this item is unknown to me, but as I have said, when in the right hands, the pasts of such items that pass through my shop tend to awaken in the hands of the right owners, and I believe this one is yours. Could you also make a perception check, please?
Yep.
Okay. You are you are actually sort of like considering what he's saying about this forgotten past, and you're passing it over in your hands and comparing it to your other staff. And compared to your other staff, this one feels better. This one is again, this is a +1 quarterstaff, so it's a +1 extra to hit and a +1 extra damage over a regular quarterstaff. As
Okay.
you are as you're passing it over in your hands, it actually feels like the wood of the staff shifts slightly in your hands and just becomes a little bit more bumpy, a little bit more natural, more like a tree root or a branch or something like that. You glance at it and nothing appears to have changed, but just again for a very brief second, when you're staring at the staff, and you're seeing beyond it, you're not seeing into the shop. Again, you're seeing into a forest.
Mm.
You are seeing into ahead of you. There is ahead and above you. Actually, there is an embankment. You're sort of like in a gully where there might have been like a stream that's now dried up, and above you there is sort of like a ridge line, and you can see trees along the ridge line, and there's a little bit of fog and mist in the air, and a shadow in the mist. You can see someone wearing skins with some kind of animal head
Okay.
and antlers, and then you see the shop again.
Oh, that was really, really strange. I think I might have also had a vision. Very strange.
Pete, did you actually say that you?
Nope.
Oh, did you not? Sorry. Okay, I'll say, oh, that was weird. I was seeing things.
And what pray tell? The Dragonborn is most curious. What pray tell did you see?
So I was in kind of. So can I just relay exactly what you said? But like, I was in a forest, in a gully, and there was a weird guy, and he was wearing. I assume it was a guy, and he was wearing these huge antlers on his head, it was like he was wearing a beast's skin.
Nice. I would wager that he was not wearing antlers. Potentially wearing beast skin. Were you able to see his face?
No, I didn't see anything.
If you see him again,
Hmm.
I'd be most curious to hear more of that tale.
Okay.
I'd be most interested to find out what his face is.
I definitely saw antlers, but yeah.
I'm staying relatively quiet while listening to all this because I'm kind of keeping it close to my chest in case it's something that the axe was trying to tell me, just to me.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just assumed that.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
No, it's fine. If you think your character would actually blurt it out, then that's absolutely fine. If you think your character would play it close to the chest,
I'm 100% honest. I'm just like, oh, that's weird.
I believe our business is now concluded.
Oh, actually, I have something that. Well, I don't know how much you know about like how much research you can do into the artifacts, but so I have this bone flute that I have, and I've had it with me since birth. But I don't know. There's some kind of magic in it, but I don't know what it is. And I wondered if you could maybe identify it, or if it seems familiar to you.
I could, if you are prepared to leave it with me to study, I am more than willing to investigate for you.
Yeah, please. Okay, I'll hand it over to him.
In a situation like this, I would sometimes charge for a service like this, or call it a favor in the future.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I can definitely do you a favor.
It will, as the professor will confirm, I will never ask you to do something that is out with your skills, and she can also confirm that I have never asked her to do anything that violates her conscience.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
I think that seems completely fair. Considering I whipped a guy through the eyeball and I didn't seem to care, I'm okay with most things.
Yes, that is a story I do not need to hear. I suggest you find somewhere to lay low with your orcish friend. This is not an ideal location. We do not often get visited by the city guard, but it is not impossible either. I dare say he will have
Contacts.
and also some explaining to do.
So, do you know anywhere we could stay that's kind of low key?
You could speak to what is that? There is there are a couple of gnomish families within the town, and I wrote them down earlier, and I lost a piece of paper. Which there it is. You could try. Yes, there are a couple of gnomish families that could provide you with discreet accommodation, depending how much you're willing to pay. Higher, if you're willing to pay a little bit extra, then I would suggest seeking out Tovish Underhand. He is well connected, and I dare say can offer you a safe house if you are a little bit more strapped for cash than Granny Skitterskar.
I'm just going to do a shrug and say, well, hang on a second. We're not wanted. I point at Thok and say he's wanted, and I'm just going to turn to Thok and actually go, do you have any contacts? Anyone that you can hide and lay low with? This is a seaport, and you are a pirate after all.
It's entirely possible that there are some people in port that I could lay low with, but I wouldn't trust them right now, given what happened in the swamp. But the Dragonborn is right. The gnomish families have no direct ties to my crew or the crews of the other ships, so they would be a good place to start. Under other circumstances, you're quite correct that I have many friends within the port. But as I say, they cannot be trusted right now.
Okay, so do you know which direction Tovish Underhand lives?
Yes, he has. He has a restaurant in the commercial district of Kingstown. There is a. If you are okay with a slog through the sewers, we can get to one of his service entrances.
Oh,
undetected.
Well, I've got waders, so I'm good with sewers.
The professor says, I must report back to the society, but if Chiron doesn't mind, I will leave messages for you. If I cannot find you with Mr. Underhand, then I will look for you here.
Okay.
Dragonborn rumbles, that is acceptable.
Okay, so shall we head off? What's the best way to get into the sewers? I'm guessing it's outside.
There's a lid just outside the shop to the right. The alleyway to the right, you'll find a lid, no problem. I trust your orcish friend will be able to navigate them. They're not particularly dangerous because the underhands and actually it's the skitterskars that actually tend to keep them free of vermin.
Okay.
He glances at the owl again.
You got something against this owl, right?
You happen to notice that the owl has dropped a few feathers where it's sitting, and it's just a little bit less spick and span where the owl is perched.
Ah, okay. He doesn't like things out of place. I get it.
That's certainly a perfectly legitimate conclusion to draw.
Hence the not shaking the hand. Yeah. Okay, so we're ready to get even more filthy, I guess. Because we've already just come out of a swamp, so what's another load of water?
Well,
So,
excellent. With that kind of attitude, you're going to go far from here.
Hey.
okay, so what do you think then, Mari? Are we going?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go. Let's yeah, and we shall. Everything will turn to talk and see you coming.
Yes, I'll lead the way.
Very well.
Does he
Thank
have a
you.
hood, or do you have a hood that he can borrow to like shoot?
I have a tarpaulin. It's fine.
He has a hood.
Covered over with a tarpaulin.
I meant
It would work.
no drows here.
No, sir. No haystacks here.
Yes. That was a perfectly legitimate disguise roll that I completely passed. Okay, so yes, Thok pulls a hood up because he has done this sort of thing before, and half orcs aren't that uncommon in the kingdom. It's just that this one is particularly recognizable and wanted. So he pulls up the hood, and you leave the shop. The professor bids you farewell and says, "I hope I'll see you again soon." And I take care of yourself and watch that one. And she nods to Thok and says, "Fear not. These two have nothing to fear from me." So
It's been lovely to work with you, and I look forward to working with you again.
as I do.
Okay, so yes. So should we just go out into the alley and head down?
What time of day is it out? Is it? Do we have to be especially stealthy or?
You two don't. Thok
Well,
is.
I mean, jumping down into a sewer in the middle of the day in a busy street is.
The alleyway is less busy.
Okay.
I mean, yes, there are sewer lids in the middle of the street, but Chiron pointed you to a more secluded spot.
Okay.
So I'm not going to make you roll stealth rolls for that. You can wait. Basically, you can keep an eye out and just quickly drop down. To be honest, the only one that would have any bother is Thok because he's just a bit larger than both of you, but it looks like he's done this before.
Okay.
Okay.
Welcome to the Thieves' Highway. Or Lowway, I suppose.
I always thought the Thieves' Highway was a roof, but yes.
Yes, I suppose it is. But some of the larger ones favor down here this way. You notice that the sewers, whilst they are dirty, they're not half as filthy as you thought they're going to be. I mean, they're not clean by any stretch of the imagination, but there's not the amount of feces that you would expect. It looks like they're actually you're looking around and you would have expected to see rats and things like that down here. You're not seeing many rats down here, and you're not seeing many signs of rats down here.
I was going to say, so can I see anything because I'm a human, so I don't have any dark vision, so...
It's not completely dark.
It's not completely dark, okay.
You're getting like little beams of light coming in from storm drains and whatnot. It's basically you're walking down a corridor that's like an arch. It's quite a wide arch. You've got storm drains above you where water can fall down, and you can see it pooling in certain places, actually quite deep in certain places, because whilst it's cleaner than you might expect, it's not as well. It's not particularly in good state of repair. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not going to fall apart any day soon, but it could do with perhaps a little bit of maintenance down here. But certainly not much sign of animal life down here.
Okay.
Beyond, I presume, things like rats and vermin, etc.
No, there's not many of those. There's not many of those.
No, there isn't.
No.
That in itself is slightly intriguing.
Yeah, you'd expect more filth, I guess.
Suddenly, crocodiles.
I do not believe it is crocodiles. I believe it's the Skitterskar clan are very, very efficient with they have a criminal enterprises, but they're legitimate businesses. They are the city's ratters, and they are quite good at it.
Oh, okay.
I believe
Skitterskar, they sound not human.
Well, they're gnomes.
Oh, okay.
So
not
is so are the underhands.
I'm not entirely comfortable with us handing our fate into people whose family name is Underhand.
Yes, I can understand that, but the Tovish, the head of the clan, fancies himself as something of a romantic, a gentleman thief, whose word is his bond, sort of thing. If he takes us in, then we will be fine.
Okay. Well, you know more about this than I, so I'm trusting you, half orc.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
You trudge through the sewers for maybe 5-10 minutes. It doesn't take very long before Thok points at a ladder that's leading up to actually it's not so much a sewer lid as it's more like a square piece of metal that can be lifted up on. It opens up on hinges.
Okay.
Up here.
Right.
I will go first.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're probably the most well known, so
Yes, they will know me, and hopefully they have not decided to turn me in for the bounty.
Don't worry. If they do, we'll insist on a cut. No, I mean, we'll help.
You would have made an excellent pirate, my friend.
Steal what you can, give nothing back.
so I'll follow him up the ladder then.
Okay.
Heading up, yeah.
Okay. He climbs up the ladder and he basically pulls a lever, and the metal door sort of opens up into. Well, you can't see because there's orc in the way. He clambers up into whatever it is. Stands there for a few seconds. We're good. You can come up. And he moves away from the ledge. You can. Well, it's up to you at this point.
Okay, so can we see anything now? Like now that he's out of the way?
You'd need to peek over the edge. You can see that there is a room above you, certainly, and it is lit.
Okay. What are you thinking?
There's no obvious door? Anything else like
that? Not from your vantage point that you can see, but you can't see much.
Are there any small, loose little pebbles on the ground?
Are you poking your head over at this point? Because if you are, I can give you more information.
Yes, I am. Well, I presume Thok's gone first, though.
Thok's already standing up there and has told you it's clear.
In that case, I'm going to come up as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, in that case, I'll have to because I'm already behind. So I'm like, okay, fine, we're going up.
Okay. It is a storeroom. You can see barrels and shelves. You can see in the background there is stone steps. There are stone steps up to a fairly secure-looking wooden door. You can see in front of the steps, and actually between the steps and the sort of like the metal trapdoor you've come through, there is a table, and you can see there are 5 gnomes. Who looks like they were playing a dice game, who are now actually on their feet, and they have crossbows. They're not pointed at you. They're actually. It looks like they had jumped to their feet and they had picked up their weapons, but they're now pointed at the ground.
Okay. So they recognized the orc then and thought, oh, it's okay.
Just gonna poke my head out from behind Thok and wave. Hello.
Yeah, Thok, do you want to introduce us to your friends?
These gentlemen here are members of the Underhand clan. My associates here would like to. Well, I would like safe haven with Tovish, and for myself and my 2 associates here. Can that be arranged? One of the knows. I'll go and see what. I'll go and see what Uncle says. You know, there's the Marines actually had a patrol out looking for you a few days ago. They heard you were in the area. Did I hear? Cousin Jiminy said you were antiquing or something like that. And one of the other gnomes slaps him over the back of the head. Don't be an idiot, Nori. Jimny's never right about these things. He's a moron.
Did you just say antiquing?
Yes.
I'm just going to sort of go, excuse me, I think the term is treasure hunting.
See, I told you, he's an idiot. Treasure hunting, says the gnome. See, he's...
It's like they've been watching too many Cash in the Attic episodes.
Yes, but it would be... How would you do Cash in the Attic in Dungeons and Dragons? On your crystal ball. Yes.
I'll give you 10 gold for it. Best I can do.
Unfortunately, it's a fake.
Pawn Stars. This is the ritual orb of Ashka Ente. The best I can do is 5 silver.
If you throw in a boiled egg, I'll take it.
Hey. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Distractions aside.
Yes, sorry. That was Discworld Orb of Ashka.
Yes, the writing ritual of Ashka Ente to summon death.
Yeah, bring me a boiled egg.
I love it. Oh.
One of the gnomes scampers up the stairs pretty quickly, crossbow in hand. The other 4 gnomes, they sort of like, wow, he looks pretty. You look a little bit dinged up, Thok. And Thok just rumbles. I'm here to speak to Tovish, and they sort of like sidle up to you. Hi, I'm Nori.
Well, up to you is up to me or up to Vi?
Both of you. Yeah,
okay.
They come to say hello.
Hi, Nori. I'm Maury.
Wow, that's like my name, but with a meh.
Your name's like mine, but with a n. Also, I'm a dwarf.
I hold out my hand to him to go and like shake it. And like,
hello.
Hi, Vi.
Is Nori a him?
Nori is a him. They're all hymns.
Okay.
Hi. So, are you like pirates as well?
Well,
So sorry. Aggressive seafarers, and he raises up his hands and does air quotes.
No, I mean, I hadn't been on a boat before the other day, so and I didn't really like it, so I don't think I'm going to choose that profession.
Okay.
We are adventurers for hire of no fixed abode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Essentially, people pay us money to help them do things, and then we find stuff and we have adventures.
Oh, people pay us stuff to do things as well. It's not so much adventures, but Uncle Tovish calls it cleanups usually, or acquisitions, or disposals. Acquisitions and disposals, he calls it.
You know, I have some fantastic stuff that's really helpful for cleanups, and I'm start rummaging in my apothecary pouch.
The gnome is really eagerly looking in your apothecary pouch. Oh my, you have herbs.
I have many herbs. Actually,
you have bottles.
Do you have a? Is there a small fire where I can make you some tea?
Yes, and he points at a small fire in the corner.
Okay, I tell you what, and I pull out some what are just like odd-looking onions. They're just onions.
Okay.
Essentially, if you boil these up, you can use the water for cleanup purposes. It's really good at getting rid of unwanted stains.
Is it?
Yeah. Unfortunately, things smell of onions afterwards, but it really is very good.
Okay.
Fun fact, that's actually true. Anyway.
Nori's actually sort of like looking at these onions, and the other gnomes are actually poking them and things like that. The gnome that ran up the stairs returns. Uncle Tovish will see you just now.
Oh, I'll make the tea for you guys when I come back down.
I'm sure we can figure it out. We've used a kettle before.
Oh well, no, don't drink this stuff. I'm just going to sort of pull out some random, just some actual normal herbs, nothing experimental.
Okay.
So here, if you boil these up, it'll be nice and relaxing for you.
Oh, okay. Okay, like the stuff that like the stuff from the den. Yes, okay.
Yeah, except probably without any other side effects, I'm guessing.
Okay. You get led upstairs. And you are led into quite a nice stone structure. It's a fairly clean stone corridor that you're led down. You can see that there is a nice wooden door at the far end of it. The path, the corridor actually branches off to the right, and the gnome, and it's actually well lit. There are torches lit at reasonable distances, and the gnome leads you along. He doesn't take you through the wooden door, which as he just turns right along the sort of like the branching corridor. As you're passing the door, you notice that it's quite secure. Like it's a wooden door, it's fancy wood, but you can see that there are a lot of metal braces on it. He leads you into what is essentially you go through some very nice stone corridors, and he leads you into quite a nice opulent office with like albeit with no windows or anything like that. It's got a desk with like parchment on it, and you can see inkwells and feathered pencil. A feather sitting beside the inkwell. You can see that there is there is a portrait on the far wall as you come in through the door of a very grand-looking gnome, sort of like dressed in militaria, sort of like wearing a military uniform and just sort of like not armor or anything, just a uniform, but it's sort of like a nice black military jacket with like gold epaulets and sort of like piping and all that. You can see on the left wall as you come in, there is a fire, and on the right wall there is a bookcase. In front of the desk there are a number of chairs. There are also in front of the bookcase some easy chairs and a table. You can see in the easy chair there is an older looking gnome that looks similar to the one in the portrait.
So probably an ancestor.
Yes, that's a fair assessment.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I understand, Thok, you're looking for some sanctuary for yourself and your friends. I know who you are. I don't know who you are, or who you are, and he indicates you two, Violetta and Maury.
I'm just going to sort of go. Well, my name is Maury Halffist. I'm an apothecary, a traveler, a wanderer, adventurer, and a newfound friend of Nori, who's currently enjoying some tea downstairs.
It's not going to make him ill, is it? The boy's an idiot.
No, it's merely some lavender and a bit of chamomile.
Okay, that's fine.
Roll Constitution for Nori. No,
automatic fail.
It explodes.
And you?
I am Violetta, but you can call me Vi. I'm kind of newly acquainted with our friend Thok here. We kind of fell through a portal together, and here we are.
That's an interesting story. Would you care to elaborate on that?
Well, we can. We're kind of a little hungry. If you wanted, we could maybe have some dinner and then chat through our story with you.
Make a persuade check, please.
Uh-oh.
Oh no!
This could go really well,
or not.
Oh my god!
Okay, well, I guess that means you're getting murdered in the combat later, but okay. Yes, that does sound like a good idea. Yes, I think very well. Until I decide whether or not to offer you sanctuary, for the day and the night. I will extend you temporary hospitality so that you can clean yourselves up, and then we will have a meal and you can tell me your story. That includes you, Thok. And we will, if I decide to give you sanctuary, we will take that as part of my payment.
Very well. That sounds
Okay.
good. Would you like some assistance cooking dinner? I have a whole pile of seasoning herbs. Some of them are quite rare.
Excellent. I have a kitchen staff,
Okay.
and in fact, a restaurant.
Oh. Does it have leather-bound corner booths and tend to serve Italian food?
I do not know what Italian food is.
Nomish cuisine you cannot refuse.
Oh dear. There is he snaps his fingers, and the gnome that was sort of like hovering in the background. Take them to the secure guest rooms. Make sure they can get themselves cleaned up and have them brought for dinner.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
My pleasure.
Okay, so I'm just going to follow the gnome to wherever he's going to take us.
You are all taken to a suite of rooms. Again, you actually leave the stone part or the stone corridors that are a bit drab, and you actually end up being taken through one of the sort of like secure doors into a much finer sort of like wooden paneled area. And you are taken to a suite of rooms where the gnome says, yes, you can. There is a communal space where you can congregate. You each have, there is private sleeping quarters, and we will have baths for all of you, which I'm sure Uncle will insist upon.
Yeah, I think I'm happy to oblige with that. I would love to have a bath.
Yeah, if you require clothing, that can also be sourced.
I'll just sort of put my clothing in the bath, to be honest. I'm a dwarf.
Yeah, well, yes. To be honest, warm water is a luxury. Yeah. A bunch of gnomes do actually show up with some tin baths, and a procession of them, like a bucket brigade with kettles, show up, and they provide you with hot water and soap and whatnot to get yourself cleaned off. Thok grudgingly cleans himself off, and just remains silent for the time being.
Okay. How long are we with like in the bathrooms and stuff for? Like,
you'll be left about for you'd probably be there for no more than 45 minutes to an hour.
okay, because I as a if I can perform a ritual when I have a short rest, would you consider it a short rest?
No, a short rest you need
4 hours.
yes, 4 hours.
Oh, is that 4 hours? Oh, okay.
Yes.
It depends on how long you rest for. But you're a human, so I think it's 8 hours is a long rest and 4 hours is your short.
It's something like that.
Yeah, that's
certainly this isn't long enough.
okay.
You can, however, did you say perform a ritual?
Yeah, but it's when I have a short rest to regain a spell slot when I can perform a ritual to get a spell slot back.
Okay, the wording of that is a little bit ambiguous, but what that means is you can do it, and then you're required to do at least a short rest to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it says during a short rest you can choose to choose to recover an expended spell slot.
Okay, I get you.
Sitting in meditation and communing with nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. You don't have the time to do that just now,
Okay.
unfortunately.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to check.
Yeah. You have the opportunity to clean yourself off and make yourselves presentable. Are you doing anything else whilst you are preparing yourselves?
what have they kind of brought me to wear? Because if they've brought me something rubbish, then I'll just.
It looks like relatively nice, but maybe not the most expensive going out dining wear.
To get something similar for myself.
Yes,
Okay.
and a comb for your beard.
I throw the comb away for the beard. I just sort of look at it and go, gnomes, and just toss it aside.
Yeah, so I'll make myself look like more presentable, like do my hair and things as well. Comb
Okay. You are after you clean yourselves up and get dressed up. You are led by one of the gnomes to a small dining room, which has a long table. With the gnome that you met in the study sitting at the head in a grand chair, which doesn't which looks grand, but also doesn't make him look small.
Can I just ask John? We've got changed for dinner, etc. But have we left our weapons and equipment behind? Or are we just wearing
Tell
these?
me. You tell me.
I'll probably keep my my stuff with me just because I don't like to leave anything behind, and I don't know for sure whether we're going back there. So
Yeah.
If it's up in the bath chamber, I'll have scrubbed my clothing in the bathtub with myself, then stuck it on the back of a chair or something to dry, and left my rest of my stuff with it.
Okay.
So I'm just wearing the clothes they've given me, and I'm come downstairs.
Okay, that's fine.
I am the weapon. Anyway,
the clothes they've given you are fairly close. They're similar, but not the same to what you're wearing. It looks like they've or similar in style, but not exactly the same.
I just had a robe on anyway, so
yeah, exactly. And the same goes for Vi. They've given you a slightly more something that feels like it could be traveling garb, but also a little bit more formal, like sort of the thing that maybe a civilian might wear when they're wanting to pretend that they're a ranger or a druid or something like that when they're going out.
Okay, yeah.
It's. But yes, it's a little bit more formal, and it's not quite as functional as your own clothes.
Okay. I think I will also, like, obviously because I don't want to stay in these clothes, I will wash my other clothes and like do the same, just kind of keep them upstairs. But on second thoughts, I think I'll leave my scimitar upstairs.
Okay.
But just keep my quarterstaff with me.
Okay.
Because I don't want like an actual sword just hanging off my belt.
Okay.
Okay.
So there are chairs big enough to accommodate all of you. And there is in fact, like I said, it's a long table with the gnome sitting at the head. There is a large chair on one side of the table that you imagine is for Thok, and there are two chairs that are slightly smaller on the other side for yourselves.
Okay, so I guess.
The gnome says, please, come in.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, take a seat.
Okay, and drinks for my dinner guests, please. And a couple of gnomes come in with sort of like various trays carrying various liquids. You can see that there's like wine, spirits, and beer.
Ooh. Okay. I'll go for a glass of wine.
Okay.
I will sniff the beer and try and judge its quality in the best way a dwarf can.
What, by drinking it, you mean?
Well, no, by sniffing it first and then judging it to be watered down American stuff or proper German beer.
More like closer to German.
Excellent. I start having a sip or two.
Yes. The gnome takes some decanter of the spirits and pours into a large glass. Food will be along shortly, so perhaps you can tell me how you come to be in friend Thok's company.
Well, that's a long and interesting story. Let us start
Excellent.
looking, and I will regale just like the same way that we had with the thing. I'll just tell them about how we were hired to escort a archaeologist to the swamp, the fens.
Ah, yes, of course, the fens.
And while we were there, we were doing some research and exploration. And we were set upon by a group, and actually Thok was amongst them, but they changed in the middle of the fight, and we barely escaped, the three of us, with our lives.
Interesting. What do you mean when you say changed? Betrayal? Mutiny?
It looked like some kind of magical corruption, as almost if like they were possessed and turned into water zombie people.
I see.
Out of interest, when it comes to the water zombie type things, had we ever seen anything like that before?
No, you
Okay.
haven't.
Yeah, they were like throwing up water on each other and then turning each other into more water monster dead things. It was awful.
The gnome looks at his wine glass and pops it down. Interesting. Good. Food is here. And his a procession of gnomes enter carrying lots and lots of trays. And they load them onto the tables in front of you. There is a lot of meat there to offend Violetta's sensibilities. There's a lot of vegetables there as well.
Okay.
Some of them are inside the meat.
Some of them are on separate plates too. He's a restaurateur with many friends.
I am going to sort of grab some haunch of meat and go, ooh, and just tuck in.
Please help yourself. There are pretty much any type of meat that you can think of is on display, and actually quite a lot of fruits and vegetables that you've encountered on your travels on this particular continent are also represented. So there's plenty of food there, and he says, please dig in, enjoy yourself. Thok, so tell us, I never thought to see you in the company of archaeologists and treasure seekers, and not only that, but looking slightly worse for wear. Why don't you tell us that story? I'm sure your newfound companions would be eager to hear it. And Thok grumble, yes, I've been thinking that I owe you to an explanation. And if that will help with convincing you to give us sanctuary, then so be it. Obviously, you know that from the wanted posters, they list me as the captain of the Sea Drake. That's not always been the case, and the Sea Drake wasn't always as famous as it is now. We had a run of bad luck for a long time. Heavily armed merchantmen with crafty mages, increased naval and marine patrols, meant we had a hell of a time of it. Our luck was turning pretty piss poor when we raided a merchant ship carrying tributes up to the cauldron when we were set upon by the friggin' navy. Bloody ship chased us for days. And he glances at the gnome. It's a long story. I'm getting to it, okay? So
I'm just going to sort of stare at him slightly blankly.
he was basically, it looked like the gnome was getting impatient.
Okay.
Ship chased us for days. We couldn't get rid of them. And then there was a fog bank that rolled in, and the captain had us dive into it and run silent. We don't like running from a fight, but a ship of the line is a bit risky even for us. So Rogar, that's the captain, chose to hide us in the fog. We hid in there for hours, and that made my flesh crawl. It was clammy and it was quiet, and a few of the lads swore they saw ruined ships crewed by I don't know what drifting past us. They were silenced. They got one chance to shut up, or their tongues got cut out. Should have listened to them. He sort of like shakes his head for a second. When the fog cleared, the navy was nowhere in sight, and in front of us, we found a small island, some rocky shores and sandy beaches. and atop a small rise, a lighthouse. Didn't realize it was a lighthouse at first. Wasn't lit on account of being abandoned. We only found out it was a lighthouse later. Captain went ashore with some of the lads to see what supplies we could scavenge. We were running low on water and other stuff when we ran into the Navy, and they were gone for a few hours but came back with full water barrels and slaughtered animals they found on the island. We were just happy to have full bellies and no Navy in sight, so didn't notice that the captain was just a little bit quieter than usual. We resupplied, and Rogar told us we were going to use the island as our base of operations. We were okay with that. Wasn't on any charts that I'd ever seen, which meant the Navy and the Marines didn't know about it. And the search of the lighthouse by Rogar and some of his officers found a map room which pinpointed our position. We were well situated to raid the shipping lanes and even the coastal villages. Looked like our luck was turning. Sorry, there's a lot of explanation here in exposition. Feel free to jump in at any time, folks, because, like I say, fair amount of exposition here.
So all this running and so forth that happened, and how did you end up in the middle of a swamp?
That's later in the story.
I think that's what we need to actually know. I think that's what he wants to know, and I point at the gnome.
Yes, I do, but actually I do appreciate that a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. How did you come? But our dwarven friend is impatient. How did you come to be in a swamp? Okay, island was a bad place, cursed. We had to do some pretty bad shit, sacrifice some people. I didn't want any part of it. Found out from a priest that there was some artifact or relic in the swamp that we might be able to get a healer to help heal us. Some of the lads were turning sick. You saw what happened in the swamp.
So how do we know that's not going to happen to you?
We don't. But that's you need to understand more of the background. After we found the lighthouse, we started. We had better luck, a lot better luck. We were able to run down merchants much more easily. We were able to evade patrols, no problem. Then the captain decided. Actually, every day that we started a new watch, the captain had us chant something that was written in the lighthouse. Now, a lot of the crew got really behind it because they realized that they thought that the lighthouse was the source of their luck, and this writing was in the lighthouse. I never quite believed in that, but sailors and pirates are quite suspicious, so I mouthed the words but never really felt it, so hopefully that's something. But yeah, the words were pretty dark. We beseech the Lord of the Lost and the Deep to smile on our ventures. I guess they will refer to some old, ancient, forgotten sea god or something like that. Problem was, the captain not only had us say the words at the start of every watch, he had us, when we were capturing other vessels, he had us say the words right before he would actually cut the crew members or weight them down and then throw them overboard as sacrifices.
Whoa. I I'm laughing quite nervously, and then just like kind of panic eating some vegetables. Oh, okay, this is a lovely story, and just okay.
Like by this point, a couple other ships had joined on with us. Our reputation was getting pretty well. We were feared. That's when I became captain of the Sea Drake. Rogar spent most of his time masterminding things from the island. The ships never surrendered to us anymore. Word got out that the crews were never spared. Although that's not true with the Sea Drake. We never did any of the sacrifices. I've spilled more than my fair share of blood on the high seas. when people have tried to defend themselves. I fought the Navy on a few occasions. I fought alongside the Marines on any number of occasions. I've got no problem spilling blood when someone's more than capable of defending themselves. But murder and drowning, surrendering crew, it's not just bad for business. It just strikes. It's just wrong.
Yeah, that doesn't seem very piratey. That seems more, I don't know,
Mass murdery.
culty almost.
Well, that's why I started keeping the Drake more distant from the island, trying to make up our own little fortune aside from the other ships. What are the other ships called? Got them written down somewhere. Orca and the Jester. Weird thing was, when we actually captured a ship that's surrendered to us, the Manatee. It was a merchant trader. They saw us normally when we hoist our flags, and merchants see it's the Sea Drake. They get as much wind into their sails as they can, or as many oars into the water as they can, and they run. This one spilled all the wind from its sails, pulled any oars out of the water, and came to a dead stop and waited for us. We pulled alongside, heaved to. I led a boarding party across onto the ship. The captain was waiting there and surrendered on the spot. Offered himself up as a hostage and said he called on me by name and said there was someone below deck wanting to speak to me. It was a priestess, by all account. Well, so she was a priestess of Loom. Loom, yes, you are both aware that Loom is god of the air and stories, and that stories in this case also represents destiny.
Okay.
Loom is depicted as a cloud giant with a spinning wheel in any religious memorabilia.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, this priestess, she was waiting there for me below decks, and she said, hang on a second, sorry, I have lost my place. She told me that great darkness had befallen my comrades, as if I hadn't already figured that part out, and its watery talons were seeking to grasp me and the few remaining members of the Drake's crew that weren't fully given into it. She said that there was a land that's a watery grave, and within that land there's a beacon that can be used to heal the sickness within me and my men. She told me to look for the signs of a beacon, a dwarven woman, and a red dragonborn. I was a wee bit shaken, but also relieved. Don't know if you understand. I mean,
Well,
it's just
that's she is definitely like some kind of like seer of some kind to know.
Well, most priests of Loom, when they are given the sight, they don't necessarily see the full picture, but what they see is accurate, and what they say is true, but not necessarily easily understood.
So do you think you've been healed, or do you think this is just the start?
I think this is just a start. I think I need to get the beacon back from your dwarven friend for a short while, and there is a temple here in Kingstown to Embergreen, goddess of life and fire, and I was hoping that they'd be able to do some healing magic with the lantern to remove any of this influence, whatever this thing that's gotten into my crew. We were in the swamp looking for the lantern. You accused me of attacking you before you got to the fens. Those were Rogar's men. They were looking for you, but they were also looking for me.
Oh, okay. I don't feel so bad about killing them then.
They would have done worse to you.
Can I so is he worried about himself having been infected, for lack of a better word?
Ask him.
So are you worried that you may come under the same curse unless this is removed?
I am hopeful that it won't happen, but the thought of losing my mind to whatever it is and becoming one of those creatures terrifies me more than death, more than imprisonment.
Could I do something that's not technically on my character sheet, but I think could be a little bit justified?
What is it you would like to do?
Well, I'm aware of ki and natural energy channeling through bodies, etc.
Okay.
Could I possibly try to see if, like, just by sort of touching him and so forth, and see if the flow of ki through his own body is somehow twisted or perverted?
Narrate how you're going to do it, and I will set a difficulty for you.
I'm going to sort of frown and look over at him and say, "Give me your hand."
He reaches his hand across the table.
And I'm going to.
It's trembling slightly.
I'm going to sort of just firmly take it, and I'm going to put my fingers on pressure points on his wrist, and then reach over and again touch pressure points up on his shoulder. Just not like strongly, but like when you have a massage and so forth, there's a firm press, a firm grip, and I'm just going to try and sort of feel the flow of his own natural ki as it goes through him.
Make a religion check, please, and your difficulty. It's not on your character sheet, but I think I'm going to give you difficulty 14.
No.
You are unable to tell.
Okay. Said, I can't tell. I cannot read you easily, but I will keep an eye on you.
Thank you.
Here, have this tea. No,
I thank you for not immediately turning me in. At this point, the dungeon and neither the dungeon nor the headsman hold any particular fear for me. But if I am to go to my death or to the cell, the dungeon, I'd rather go as myself rather than a beast.
Mhm.
I don't want to become like, the manatee, the one with the ship with the priestess. We left that one. We decide. I made the decision not to take it as a prize, which caused a violent reaction in my first mate. He became one of those things in front of my eyes. His flesh turned grey, his eyes black, and he vomited all over me. Seawater all over me. I ran him through. He laughed, pulled himself off the blade, and dived over the side.
Oh.
His hand starts shaking a lot at this point.
Mm.
And you can start to see water dribbling out of the side of his mouth.
I suggest we stop talking about this, my friend. You appear to be getting distressed at the very least.
I put my wine glass underneath his mouth to catch the water.
Okay, you can do that.
I'm going to I'm getting quite alarmed. Said,
yeah,
we've seen this before. Hang on, and I'm going to say, I'm going to point it out to oh, sorry, I've forgotten his name. The gnome.
He never gave his name, but
I presumed it was Torval.
Tovish Underhand.
I presume that's who it was, and I'm just going to go. So, this is what we saw. Doc, are you aware of what's happening right now?
He's starting to go into convulsions. Tovish says, "Oh my, this is most intriguing," and he starts waving his hands in front of him and muttering a few words, and then gestures abruptly at Thok, who his eyes sort of roll back into his head and then roll forward again, and then he sort of slumps into sleep. There's still water dribbling out of his mouth, but his head lolls to the side. You can see some trembles in his arms. Oh dear. It would appear he is it is not paranoia.
No.
So I know this might be a little bit kind of forward thinking, but do we want to tie him up in case he changes?
Yes, I believe that would be prudent. I will have my underlings do that. I would suggest perhaps he is in no fit state to be transported through the city. Perhaps you should seek out this priestess of Embergreen. Well, there is a shrine to Embergreen in the main temple. She's not quite as popular as she used to be, but
We'll talk. I don't suppose I should ask how you're going to get him there without being seen.
Well, I'm suggesting you bring her here.
Ah, well, yes, that made more sense, I guess.
Okay.
Can you both make perception checks? Difficulty is gonna be 11. Fairly easy check. Watch you both fail. You're good?
Yeah. Just
You're both good. Yeah, you can hear a bell ringing in the distance.
Oh, what kind of bell? Is it like an alarm bell type thing? Or a church bell type thing?
It's more like a church bell, but but it's not ringing like the hour or anything like that. You've not heard that happen at all. You can just hear a very insistent ringing coming from. Well, actually, you don't know what direction it's coming from.
Can I ask? Like Torvin, is it Torville? Sorry,
Tovish.
Tovish. I don't know why I think Torville. Tovish, what is that? Are you familiar with that?
Yes, that's the harbor bell. That's usually when there are navigation hazards, fog, or shipwrecks.
I'm getting a little bit agitated. Right, let's get this priestess. Come on, I think we can deal with this right now. It's gonna get worse.
Okay. What kind of time of day is it now that we've had it's dinner time, right?
It's going to be quite late afternoon.
Actually,
it's more likely to be early evening at this point. You're probably about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. So you would expect it to be still light outside.
So so do you know whereabouts this temple is? Is it like
yes, we will take you out the front of my establishment this time. Perhaps you want to collect the rest of your gear, friend Maury.
Yes, please.
Yes, the front of my establishment opens up onto the main thoroughfare through Kingstown. If you just follow it up the hill, away from the dock, you will get to the Royal District, and the temples are just at the gates of the Royal District.
Okay.
Okay.
I also need to go and get my stuff, so I'm going to just quickly scoot up because I've been so I'm a bit kind of frenzied by the bells ringing and stuff. I'm not sure what's going on, so I run up the stairs and grab my stuff hastily.
Okay. You hastily grab your stuff. You are the dwarf that has been your host basically escorts you through a door into actually the back end of the back of a restaurant. You can see there are tables all around, and you can see that there are quite a few humans, tieflings, and gnomes, and the odd dwarf and elf in the restaurant eating various fine food, and they all sort of stop and look at both of you coming out of the back with this gnome. They stare for a second and then go back to their their meals. He says, "Thok will be quite safe under my hospitality. Should you wish it, I will offer the tale you have spun has been entertaining, interesting, and intriguing. I believe that will suffice for sanctuary for the evening for your associate and yourselves.
Thank you.
If you wish to extend that, then we can have that conversation tomorrow."
Okay. I really would suggest tying him up, though.
Oh, don't worry about that. We know how to make sure people can't move.
That's reassuring. Okay. And I kind of like head out of the door, like gesturing, like, you come in, or
I'll run upstairs and grab my stuff.
Yeah, that's. I was taking it that you'd already done that. This conversation has happened after that.
Okay. In which case, yes, let's go.
Let's go and leave the gnomish gangster behind to more euphemisms.
Yes.
It's foggy outside.
okay.
It's quite foggy outside. Have you ever seen the fog?
Well, we went to a swamp and it was very foggy.
Yeah.
Yes. Does this look like that kind of fog?
Yes, and it's everywhere.
Oh my!
Oh,
And the
What's
bell.
like, how far can we see? Like, as in, can we see up the street? Or
You can see the street and you can see the curvature of it, see which way is down and which way is up. So, given what you've just been told in the restaurant, you are fairly certain you know which way to go, which way is the docks and which way is the Royal District, given the steepness of the street.
okay.
You can hear. I actually make perception checks, please, because this is different.
Okay.
Okay, Pete. This Amy, you don't hear any. Amy, you hear armored bootsteps coming towards you from up the hill. Pete, you also hear that. You also hear other bells, not quite as loud, shouting like, "Watch out! It's gonna hit!" Oh, quick, get out of there now! Coming from down the way. You can also hear something going.
Does it sound owl-like?
No, sorry. It's a bit. I came up with an impression on the spot, and it was rubbish.
Okay, what does it sound like?
It's more like a really bizarre bubbly burble.
Oh no!
Okay.
It's the bad guys from Stingray.
Yes, and their giant jumping fish have just crashed everything in the docks. And you can see the restaurant sinking into the ground just like in Stingray. No, Pete, that doesn't happen.
Okay. So the temple is in the other direction from the docks.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go there first.
Yep.
I'm going to relate it to Vi. There's some weird noises coming from down the docks.
Yeah, I'm totally going the other direction, and then
Let's head to the temple.
I start to kind of like lightly jog that way.
Okay.
I can lightly jog very fast. I've got a movement of 35 feet.
Yes, you're actually now faster than the human, I noticed. But actually, I knew that was going to happen because monks get that at level 2.
Oh, yes.
And again at another level, I can't remember which. Monks
you
get
can get like up to 45 feet or something eventually.
Yeah, so yeah, you get quite fast. Yes, so actually, Maury, who has historically been the person who lags in the rear, is actually outpacing you, and doesn't seem to be breaking a sweat doing it either. Although if he's a reasonable person, he's probably actually realizing that he's actually outpacing you and then drawing level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As you're running up the street, the sound of the bootsteps actually get closer, and you see a column of soldiers barreling down the center of the road. And you can hear a human in charge of or you would imagine is in charge, maybe an officer or sergeant, yelling, "Get out of the road! Get indoors now!"
I jump to the side of the road and let them pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't stop. There is that one of them does glance back. The one that shouts glances back at you, shakes their head, and continues on.
Okay, something's definitely going down there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not be there just now.
Yeah, I'm thinking we have a job to do, so let's go do it.
Yeah, your common sense is tingling, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, you hurry up the street. You can hear, like I say, you can hear more footsteps. The street is not particularly steep, so it's not particularly taxing. You can't see very far ahead of you at any given point, but you can see that you're passing various shops and businesses, many of which seem to be closing up, and what passes for shutters and things like that, or like reinforced things being placed in windows and whatnot. Weirdly, that wasn't happening at the restaurant, but then actually, if it's run by a gangster, they might think, well, yeah, come in here if you dare, sort of thing. You can see that there's actually, you can actually see that the street becomes a crossroads. And there is a wall on the other side of the crossroads with an archway. You can see that there are large buildings on basically hugging the side of the wall, which is not ideal for sieges, but whatever. You can see, you're close enough to see that actually there are the symbols for the following priesthoods. Hang on, I have them all written down. Chute, which is law and the forge. Jubel, which is justice and warfare. Sashalas, sea and war. Ember Green, life and fire. And Loom, air and stories. All of them have chapels here. You can see that actually out of the temple, the sort of like the temples, there are. You can see outside of Chute and Jubel, there are armored soldiers mustering that are slightly more heavily armored than the soldiers that just actually charged past. And whereas the soldiers that charged past looked like they were fairly like common soldiers, like with like the kingdom's arms on their tabards and whatnot, these soldiers have the regalia of the temples of Chute and Jubel and Sashalas. The three of because of the five clergies that are present here, those three are two of them have war as part of their thing, and the third one doesn't, but still tends to equip soldiers because it's the forge. And law.
Jubel was the one that we were looking for, was it not?
Ember Green.
Ember Green.
Sorry.
Ember Green, life and fire.
Okay. So can I recognize which one is Ember Green like easily?
Pete certainly can. You might, given that you're a stranger in a strange land, I would say make a religion check.
Okay.
Pete, you would.
Okay. Can I just point it out? That one.
See if. Yes, you know it as well.
Okay, so right. Okay, here it is then.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The symbol of Ember Green is actually a tree that is on fire.
Oh.
You go into the shrine or the church, which has it has a few pews for praying, and you can see at the back of the church, you can see that the stone floor stops and has actually a patch of soil is there for a small tree. And the tree itself is not burning or anything like that, but you can see there are fires lit on torches all around it. And there is a high elven woman there. She is wearing orange robes. She is tending to the flames. She glances in your direction. Are you seeking sanctuary?
Not right now, but there is trouble in town. Actually, we've been come to find the priestess.
That is, I am Myera, the priestess.
Well, we have a bit of a situation, and Tovish suggested that you might be able to help.
Ugh. I see.
You don't like him, I get that impression.
He is a thug.
Well, our friend isn't. Well, he's a half orc, but he's not a thug. Well, he is kind of a pirate, but he.
He's not a thug. He's just a bit of a pirate.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he kind of needs like your help. Something's happened to him. We think he has some kind of curse on him.
I see.
It may have something to do with Loom, possibly,
A curse by Loom.
or something similar. He said he saw there was like a vision of Loom, and then the crew started getting turned into water monster people.
Pete, that's you're misremembering.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the Loom. He captured a priestess of Loom in one of his raids, and she was the one that told him that there was a darkness on his crew, and that he would need to, and who pointed him in the direction of the swamp and the beacon. Yes, Loom is definitely involved, but at no point has he suggested that Loom is
the curse.
It's more a case of a handy piece of convenient prophecy has been dropped in your laps as a clue.
Right. Okay, sorry about that.
No worries, no worries.
In which case, yeah, just relay sort of that yes, that he there was a darkness upon his crew and upon his captain, and they started turning into these weird water zombie things. And yeah, he thought he was safe, but when we were talking with him earlier and he was telling this, all of a sudden the same thing started happening to him. So Torvish sent us to retrieve you and see if you can help. Tobish, sorry.
Yes.
His name is literally written right there, and I can't read it properly.
How forthcoming are you about Thok's vocation?
Oh, I just said it out loud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me understand this properly. Okay. So, sheltering with a gangster is a pirate that is currently wanted by every authority in existence, who has apparently been cursed by some dark evil magic.
Yes, but and I'm just going to sort of really when they were fighting in the swamp, we first met this person. The water that they were expelling from their bodies, if it hit other people, they seem to turn into them as well. So getting this out of him before potentially the whole town gets turned into a bunch of monster people might be a good idea.
I see.
Yeah, I did kind of collect it in a wine glass, but he was drinking.
Here, try this.
Huh?
Here, drink this.
Here, have a sip. No, I was kind of collecting it in a wine glass, but he's probably dribbled a lot more since then. All it takes is one of those little gnomes to go in and, suddenly...
And they're not very smart.
Swampy gnomes.
Very well. My oath to Embergreen is to preserve life.
Thank you. Does that mean
despicable though they may be, lead me to this cursed half-orc, and I will do what I can.
Okay, fantastic. Follow us then. So we'll kind of start marching. Well, I'm going to start marching her back as fast as I can, but without being rude.
Okay, you can certainly do that. You are marching back as fast as you can. Could you both make
I assume Maury's coming with me. Like,
yes, of course.
Yeah.
Could you both make are you just going straight back?
Yes, but still
yeah.
paying attention for guards and monsters and large crashing noises as I presume a ship rams the dock.
Okay. Can you both of you make perception checks, please? Okay, this time, Amy, you can hear, as you're approaching, a very loud, weird, burbly sound heading in your direction. It sort of burbles and throbs. Can you both of you make dexterity saving throws? The difficulty is going to be annoyingly only 15.
Oh,
Okay.
Where am I? There I am. Okay. Oop.
Okay. Yes. Unfortunately, whilst Pete, you're actually moving along quite stealthily, and the elven lady is also quite nimble and stealthy. Amy, unfortunately, you are less so at this point.
oh, sorry. Was it stealth? Sorry, was it stealth or was
It was a dexterity saving throw.
dexterity saving? Oh, okay.
Neither of you said you were being sneaky about it.
No.
You were being alert, but you weren't being sneaky. So I'm letting you have a dexterity saving throw against a creature's perception.
Oh no.
So yes, you hear just as you're hurrying down the street, you hear coming up one of the side streets, and you'll be able to actually can see it. It is a large floating blobby jellyfish type mass, translucent. You can actually see the inner workings of it. You can see that it has lots and lots of tendrils, sort of like stretching out to each of the buildings that it's passing, and stretching out ahead of it. And one of them points in your direction, and it starts floating towards you.
How far away is it?
I'm going to say that it is 30 feet away from you right now.
The actual tentacle or the thing itself? Or whatever.
I'm going to say that the creature itself is about 30 feet away from you. The tendril can reach within 10 feet.
Okay. Can I try to create a fog cloud around it so it can't and like dodge out of its way?
You're in fog.
Sorry?
You're already in fog.
Already in fog. Okay.
And that doesn't seem to be hindering it at all. Incidentally, you can't see eyes.
Ah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, if I can't see, so it doesn't. It literally looks like a humanoid jellyfish, right?
No, it looks like a jellyfish.
A full-on jellyfish, just
and
floating.
It's floating about maybe 10 feet above the ground.
Oh, okay. Then in that case, sorry, I thought it was like a weird jellyfish hybrid thing.
Nope.
Right. Okay.
Are there any? We're in a street, so I presume there's houses and whatnot nearby.
Yeah. Could we?
You can.
Or is there a sewer grate?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yes.
Okay. Right. I've got a cunning plan. I'm just sort of going to grab. Is there a sewer grate that's either slightly further away or just in front, or something that we can get to before it gets to us?
Because I rolled reasonably high on that dice, it is just down the street from you in the opposite direction from the jellyfish, which is floating in your direction. Pete, okay. Your character can see it as well.
Okay.
It's just that it is angling towards Amy's character.
Right. I said, right, hang on, sewers. And I sort of run back and I haul up the grate. Go on, in you get, go on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll start sliding down the ladder.
The elf looks at it with distaste, then glances at the jellyfish, and then is down into the sewers like a shot.
I'll try and catch her if I can, and help her.
It doesn't look like she needs your help. It looks like she finds the whole situation distasteful.
Oh,
I
okay.
will hop down and close the hatch behind myself.
Okay.
And then I've got dark vision because Dorf. So
I just produce flame anyway, just because
my eyes.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, so we know which roughly direction to head in to get towards Tovish's.
Yes, you do.
So we'll head in that direction.
What in the world was that thing?
I have no idea, and I don't especially want to find out right now.
Me neither. I have no idea. Oh, okay. Let's go.
Embergreen preserve us, and she sort of like taps. She's wearing a small pendant of her religion, sort of like it's a bronze shaped tree with a that looks like it's on fire, the way it's been forged, and it has a citrine in it. Embergreen preserve us. Okay, lead on. I'm assuming neither of you believe in coincidences.
No. I've seen too much to ever believe in coincidence ever again. Though I do believe in chance, luck, fate, runes, dice, prophecy, and anything else that leads me to where we need to go.
Okay, what if that gets... Yes, okay. Let's... it's down this way, I believe, is it not? And it's a straight sewer, so you basically... I am going to make you roll either survival or just a straight wisdom roll to see how well you judge the distance in the sewers underground.
Well...
Okay. Actually, yes. Maury. I'm underground. This is great.
I'm a little turned around.
You're a little turned around. You can actually hear metal, sort of like scraping on metal, behind you. As well, you can hear metal scraping on metal behind you. Violetta, on the other hand, you actually think, yeah, okay, we're going this way, we're going this direction. We need to go for a little bit further because we're not quite there yet. Okay, let's start looking for a sewer grate because I think we've been underground long enough. We're probably almost on top of the restaurant.
Yep. Okay.
You okay?
Yeah. I was already all kind of like waiting to walk and keep going.
Yep. Okay.
That thing.
Yep. You get so you find a grate and you open it up.
Okay.
Who's going up first?
I'll poke my head up to see whereabouts we are. I don't want to jump out in case there's like we're still in the street.
Okay. You poke your head out. You are still in the street. You can see some of the shops that were just up a little bit from the restaurant you came out of. You can see a couple of bodies lying opposite with crossbow bolts in them.
Oh. Okay. So do we have to cross the open street to get to the restaurant?
The sewer grate brings you out in the middle of the street, so you would actually you come out quite exposed, but then you could run to one side or the other. Your navigation is telling you that the bodies are on the opposite side of the street from the restaurant.
Okay. Okay, can I look around, like just like do a sweep and then like with like to have a look around and see if they're still around, whoever shot the crossbow bolts? And
you can see some short silhouettes, maybe about 30 feet in the fog, and you hear a voice, "Identify yourself, say something, and if you start puking, we're going to shoot you in the head."
I'll just say it's Vi.
Another voice, "Who's Vi? Don't be an idiot. It's that one that came out of the basement with the orc and the dwarf, and they were with Uncle." Oh, yeah. You're not one of them things, are you?
No,
Don't be an idiot. She wouldn't be speaking. She'd be puking her guts out by now. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Show yourself.
Okay, so I will like very quickly run towards the figures, like get up out the sewer, run towards the figures, and then like almost kind of barge past them to the doorway.
Okay, there are a squad of gnomes guarding the doorway with crossbows.
Oh, okay.
You can also see actually in actually once you get closer to the restaurant, you can actually see there are shapes in the windows above ground level as well.
Okay, so can I run in and just be like, it's me?
You can do that. You're wanting to run inside and do that.
No, I was kind of going like, guys, I was gonna kind of almost be like, yeah, it's me. Can I just and then just keep like trying to get past them, kind of thing.
Okay. At least one of them recognizes you, and they all recognize that you're not puking up seawater or any swamp water or river water or sewer water or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Is your dwarven friend here, or is he dead?
No,
we're all here. Oh, we brought a priestess with us as well.
Oh, brilliant! Oh, you best get in, your holiness. And the elven woman just sort of like glances and nods at the gnome and take me to this this cursed individual of yours. And
okay, we head inside.
yeah, one of the gnomes actually leads you inside. There's still actually a fair amount of customers here, still eating, incidentally.
I'm just like, absolutely baffled by them. Like, do you not know what's going on out there?
Bad things happen all the time. This place is safe. The guard will be. This is one of the patrons. It's a relatively posh looking human. The guard will be out there. The temples will have their and nobody messes with this place. Even when pirates raid, nobody messes with this place.
Well, I'm going to sort of go, yes, but have you previously had giant jellyfish, weird monsters roaming through fog, turning people into water zombies?
That one's new.
Yep.
He goes back to whatever he was eating. Sure, it'll be fine. The guard are out there. The guards out there. The temples are out there. It'll be fine.
What if the guard's all dead? I'm just going to ask him, like, what if the guard's all dead? What happens then? Who else is going to defend it? You? What else you got?
By that logic, what difference does it make where I am? Are you suggesting that I run from the city?
I'm suggesting you help these gnomes barricade this house.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be fine. If they want my help, they can ask.
I think we have other things that we need to do that are more this guy's health.
Out of interest, what is he eating?
It looks like he's eating roast beef and roast potatoes and gravy.
I'm just going to pick up a fork and stab a bit of roast beef and walk away with it, eating it.
I had that exact thought that I just like, you know what? It's like, I just want to eat this guy's food. Whatever he's eating, I just want to eat. Like,
there are carrots and potatoes there.
Yeah, and I'll like glare at him and then like unceremoniously like scoop up some carrots and go, yeah, and then leave as well.
You rebels.
Okay, so
the priestess watches this entire exchange. Well, Stembergreen would not necessarily approve of that interaction. That was most entertaining.
Yeah,
annoying little human.
We're hardcore.
stealing posh human food, running away from danger. Okay.
Right. Anyway, we have to go and help our friend. Well, acquaintance guy.
Yes, you do. Okay. You are taken through the back of the restaurant where you were through the back door into the stone part of the building, the sort of like the less well decorated part that is the customers don't generally see. And you're taken to it's actually not the quarters that Thok was given earlier so much as it is a room with a large table on it that he is currently strapped to with really, really strong leather bindings and some metal manacles as well. He's still currently asleep, and water is sort of dribbling away from him.
Oh, oh God.
Yep, I'm just going to sort of indicate Throck to the priestess. This is Throck, and this is what he's been doing since we last saw him.
Interesting. And she starts examining him. Pete, can you make a medicine check, please? Amy, if you have medicine as well, you can make it too.
I have a collection of interesting herbs.
None of which will help you with a visual diagnosis.
Oh.
Well,
okay.
I diagnose him with dead.
He was then taken to a better apothecary where he was upgraded to alive. Yes. So she begins a cursory inspection of him first, just to check him out, and your medical instincts sort of kick in, and you start giving him the once over. His skin is actually turning grayer than it was, and you can actually see around about his mouth. You can see the flesh is turning black, and there is a discoloration in his eyes.
Do I have anything in my apothecary pouch that I know may help with such things?
Well, possibly an axe to cut his head off to put him out of his misery, because this looks like it's going to be fatal and painful.
I have two of these.
So, I'm just kind of still. I just grab another glass from somewhere and just hold it under the dribble and is this helping? I don't know if this is helping.
He's not going to drown in it. It certainly cleans him up a little, but he's not in danger of drowning in it, if that's what you're worried about.
That's my medicine check.
Hang on. I have a glass or a beaker or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think he's just too far gone now?
I will attempt a healing. And she places her hand on him and she says, I sense the presence of artifacts. And she looks at you both. Place your one hand each on my shoulders, please. I believe you are... My instinct is telling me you are carrying something that might be able to help.
I take my hand that does not have the axe in it and place it on her shoulder.
Okay.
Yep, I do the same. The one that isn't holding the glass of water.
Yep, okay. She begins chanting in Elvish. Do either of you speak Elvish?
No.
Nope.
Okay, she is chanting in what you assume is Elvish. At no point do you understand anything she says. She waves her hand over Thok while she's speaking, and you can see fire appearing over her hand as she sort of chants, and then she places her hand on Thok, and the fire, it doesn't burn him like your burning hand, your summoning fire cantrip thingy would. It seems to flow into him, and you can see some color returning to the flesh around about where her hand touches. And she says, I believe I can stave off, or rather, I believe with your assistance, we may be able to stave off the spread of the infection, but this may be beyond my skills to completely cure, but without an intervention now, I believe he will die imminently. This will require going to another place, I believe.
do what you can for him.
Do I have your consent, dwarf?
Give me a second. I need to roll a percentile dice check here. Because I'm trying to judge whether or not I believe he's worth the trouble or not.
You've always been his staunchest supporter.
I know, but that was just to convince him of things. I think it's fine. Yes. Okay. Well, I think we should be careful. But yes, which is this other place that you're talking about?
If this infection is within him, we must. It is magical in nature. I can definitely determine that. We must do battle with this infection in. I suppose you might call it a pocket realm.
I don't like where this is going, but okay. Battle is always worth something, and who knows what I might find there.
Well, hopefully answers. Thank you, dwarf. You are more
acquiescent
than many of your race. She returns her gaze to Thok, and you can actually see her eyes are glowing orange as well now, and she begins her chant again in Elvish, and you can actually feel the heat that is coming from her going into Thok, and it's now actually enveloping you. And then
wow, unexpected.
Yeah, that was unexpected, wasn't it? You're suddenly not in the room anymore. You are standing on the deck of a rotten ship. It is night. Like I say, the ship itself is rotting. You can actually smell that the wood is rotting. You can smell that it's sodden with seawater. There is a sail hanging from the mast, but it's in tatters. It is a clear moonlit night. You can see that the seascape around about you, the water appears black, and there are rocks poking out of the water all around you. You can see in the distance there are other ships that look like they have at a distance you can't see details, but you can see their sails are in a similar state as this one. You can see 3 creatures on deck that look like they used to be human sailors. They are they have grey skin. Their eyes are black, but there is a sort of like an eerie white glow around about them that has been absent from any of the other creatures. You are there, both of you. The elven priestess is there. Thok is nowhere to be seen. Be careful. This is a representation of his ailment. We must defeat it. Well, best of luck to you, friends. Roll initiative, please.
Okay.
Double checking. Yes, I am.
Okay. Oh wow, they did poor.
I did mediocre.
I don't know what my initiative is.
Plus your dex modifier.
Oh, +0.
Yeah, they used to have a little box for initiative, but they got rid of it because 5th edition.
Oh, stop complaining about 5th edition.
Old man rant.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Okay, what is the highest of the two of you? That was Amy with 15. Okay, you're going second.
They did poor. We did worse.
No, actually, the cleric is going first. Then it's Amy, then it's Pete, and then it's them. Mook 1, Mook 2, Mook 3.
Are we having a battle map, or are we?
There is no map for this one. I ran out of time before I could do that, and to be honest, it's close enough that you're going to be able to reach each other, and unless you specifically try to get away, you're going to be in range.
Okay.
Yeah. The deck is actually not especially wide. It's wide enough to. Well, it's a sailing vessel, so when I say it's not especially wide, you could actually probably get 10 people abreast standing on it. You've got the mast in the middle of it, and you've got these three creatures advancing on you. They seem to be moving with more fluidity, more. The movement is more natural than the creatures you saw in the swamp.
Okay.
Okay. The cleric raises her hand up, and you see fire forming on her hand, and she mutters something in Elvish, and a firebolt shoots from her hand at one of the creatures. And let's see if she hits or not. She hits. And then I start looking for a d10. And she does a pathetic amount of damage. Okay. It is now Violetta's turn. What are you doing?
Sorry. I had to close the door.
Okay. Hold the door.
Okay, so I will use my produce flame, but as a weapon, so a ranged weapon.
Okay.
So I will fling it at the one closest to me.
Okay. I think actually we'll do a makeshift battle map for this one. Okay. Where is the brush?
Stick.
2 thin brown lines.
Yeah, that's the sides of the ship, Pete.
It's a TIE fighter.
No, no, it's not exploding. 1, 2, and 3. The cleric.
Do we have a draw function?
Yes, you should do. If you go to,
I see it.
Yeah.
It's all good. I will draw in red.
Okay. Anyway, it's there's one of them that is directly in front of Amy. Although the mast is in the way, but that doesn't mean you can't sort of like fire around it or move around it, sort of thing. The cleric has targeted number 1.
Okay, I will go for number 3.
You're going for number 3.
Yeah.
With your fire thingy.
With produce flame, ranged attack. Yeah.
Okay, it's a spell attack, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a regular attack. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, for God's sake.
That misses.
Yeah.
Pete, can you roll a d2 for me, please?
A D2.
A d2.
1.
Okay, that's fine. What would you like to do, Pete?
I didn't even know. Isn't that flipping a coin?
Basically, yes.
I am going to. Let's see. Is each square representing 5 feet or?
Yes. Let's go with that.
Okay. I am going to run in this direction, and then that direction, and
Okay.
then I'm going to fly kick this one in the face.
Okay.
Wacha!
Yeah, fine. Make your attack roll. Yeah, that's not enough to actually. You probably connect with it, but it seems to be reasonably solid for something that you suspect might be undeady.
Okay. I am going to then spend one of my key points
Uh-huh.
to make a flurry of blows, essentially. So 2 unarmed strikes as a.
Yeah, that's fine. I read your character sheet earlier. Go for it.
Can I do this as 2d20 plus 5? Will it come up as 2 different dice?
Yes, you'd get the 2 different dice showing up.
Okay.
Yes, that's fine.
Ooh,
Well, okay.
17 and a critical fail.
Yes, we will come back to that in a second. The 17 hits.
And then just double checking, it's 1d. Yeah, it is. Whack.
Okay, so you are doing 6 damage on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is a fair amount of. Yeah, you smack that with your fisticuffs. When you punch it, it squelches.
Ew.
Because of your critical fail, you're actually out of position, and it's going to get advantage on its attack on you.
Okay.
And its attack is, it has a long sword, and it actually has 2 attacks, but not with the longsword. One of them is a different thing. It's only getting an advantage on the longsword attack.
Okay.
So,
AC is 15.
oh, you are lucky. Both of them are 15.
Ooh.
And I think I need to beat it, don't I?
I can't remember. I think so.
Yeah, yes. Its second attack is a spell-based attack. It spews water and it goes right past your head.
Ninja dick.
Yes, why not?
It was distracted by the kick to the face that missed.
Yep. Number 2 is now going to come in and attack you. First of all, it's going to basically attack with its longsword at you, and then it's going to make its breath attack.
Okay.
It hits with its longsword.
Ah!
It does 5 slashing damage.
Okay.
And it's going to make its breath attack on you, and it misses. 3 is going to go after Amy's character.
Oh, no.
Because it would be really, really cruel to have all 3 of them gang up on Pete.
Yeah.
Also quite traditional.
Also quite traditional. And besides, if it can take out Amy's character, it can flank you completely. Okay. So it's going to make a longsword attack on your character, Violetta. And it misses. It's now going to make a breath attack. What's your AC?
Do
I remember 13?
13, yeah. No, it's yeah, it must be 13, yeah. That's right.
Pete, thank you. I will bear that in mind for next time. I'm going to let you away with it this round. Okay?
No, I just thought I should double check.
Yep, no, that's absolutely fine. Thank you. Yes, the breath weapon hits you. You are getting a face full of seawater.
Oh, no.
And you take 6 cold damage.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, sorry, no, 5 cold damage.
5, okay. Only slightly better.
Only slightly better.
Okay.
You didn't get hit, did you, Pete?
No, I got hit with a longsword.
Okay. The cleric. Oh yeah, you did get hit, didn't you? Yeah, the cleric is actually going to spend this round doing a healing spell on you.
Ooh.
And you're, oh my, that's a piss poor roll. You're going to get 4 hit points back.
Hooray!
Only because she's a damn good cleric. And it is now Amy's turn. You have an undeady thing standing right next to you.
Okay, so what I want to do, I wonder if I can. I can't. I don't know if I can draw. It came up really, really late. Okay, so I want to basically kind of push him that way by doing a thunder wave spell attack, which is a 15-foot cube of like thunderous energy, which pushes it 10 feet away.
If it fails the save, I believe.
It fails the save, and also it takes 2d8 thunder damage. So I'll do the thunder damage if I can actually hit it.
Okay, a 15-foot cube centered on it.
15-foot cube centered on the caster.
So yes, so it's from me, so from me forward.
All right, okay, forward.
Yeah, so it's actually in front. It protrudes from me.
Okay,
no, it's a cube. It's around.
Yeah, it's a cube in front of me, not a cube around me.
No, it says each creature in a 15-foot cube originating from you. Sorry,
no, I think Pete's right because
I've got this on my cleric in another game, so I use it frequently.
Oh, okay. So it is like a 15-foot cube round me from all sides.
Yes.
Essentially, it's 5 feet inside of you is the best way to describe it.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So I'll do that. So yes, it's a saving throw.
Okay, it's a dexterity save, is it?
It's yeah, dex save 14.
Okay, let's see what it's dexterity.
It's Constitution.
I'm sorry. Constitution 14.
It saves.
Okay. So it takes half damage, right?
You tell me.
Pete?
Okay, Thunder Wave. A successful teach save, the creature takes half as much damage, so roll your 2d8 and half it.
Yep,
but it isn't pushed. However, any unsecured objects that are completely within the area, like small objects on the deck and whatnot, go flying too.
Okay. You're going to see chunks of decking go flying at this point. So it's going to take, I will round it up and give it 4 damage.
Okay.
Okay, Pete, your turn.
Okay, I am going to peek out my magic axe and continue to strike number 1.
Could you roll a d2 for me, please?
I don't like this bit. Got a 1 again.
Yep, okay. Yeah, make your attack roll with your axe.
Okay.
You miss.
And bonus action is just the unarmed strike.
Yes, okay, yeah.
That's just not a key one, not a flurry of blows, just a single strike.
Yeah, that's fine. Go for it.
That one hit.
Yes, it does.
Whack again.
Nice work. That one's it's a little bit less steady on its feet, but yeah, you still have a ways to go to take it down. It's now going to get its shot on you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to make its longsword. It's going to swing its longsword in the sideways cut at your side.
Okay.
And it hits. Take 5 damage.
No.
It's now going to try its breath attack on you. Also hits, so take 5 cold damage as well.
Okay, I'm down to 9 hit points.
Okay. 2 is going to disengage from you as its action and advance on cleric.
Just so that I can't attack it, eh?
Yes. How did you delete?
You click on the cursor, then click on the thing that you've drawn and press delete.
Ah.
I can't delete your stuff and you can't delete mine. So
yeah, that makes sense.
You can also click and highlight an area, I think. Yeah, you can.
Turns out I can. I've learned something new today. So 2 has disengaged, which doesn't, and I'm making a box again, which I didn't mean to do. Yeah, 2 is now directly in front of Cleric Lady. And 3 is going to have another go at Amy's character. Swinging its sword first. Misses. Oh, wow. Critical fail. It's sort of like critical fail for a breath weapon attack. What do we think?
Comes out the ears.
Could it slip on its water or something? I don't know.
I think it's entirely appropriate given that you thunder waved the area. Its footing is actually unsure at this point, so I'm going to knock it prone.
Okay.
It tried to swing its head forward for a breath weapon attack, and when it was trying to get surer footing, part of the decking which came loose when you thunder waved the area wasn't where it was expecting, and it fell on its face. Cleric lady is now fighting the zombie in front of her. The creature-y zombie thing, because clearly these things are just a little bit more than zombies. And she misses with her spell attack. And it is now Amy's turn.
Okay. I will can I I'll try Thorn Whip on it.
Go for the eyes.
Without their heads, they're powerless.
So while it's on the ground, I want to try and use Thorn Whip to damage it, if possible. So let me just
you make a spell attack with advantage.
Okay. I'll just roll the d20 twice rather than do this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh wow.
Okay, so roll your damage dice twice.
Okay. So 2d6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so 3's looking battered as well. Although still fighting.
Because I can also pull it 10 feet closer as well. So I can pull it while it's prone using it, and I can pull it 10 feet closer to me.
Yeah, okay. It was already within 5 feet of you.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Range.
Yeah, it's already in melee range.
Okay.
Okay, Pete.
Okay. I am going to continue to attack number 1. And I'm going to holler out as I do so, just sort of half over my shoulder to the cleric. Holler if you need a hand.
I have this dwarf.
Fine, you knife here. Anyway. Axe.
Okay. Okay. Could you roll a d2, please?
Oh, sure. 2 this time.
Okay, you get to roll that attack with advantage, so that would hit. Roll to see if you get a crit.
Okay. No, but I get a higher result, so...
Okay, as you swing the axe back, it catches the moonlight and glows white.
Ooh, pretty.
And you swing it down. Hang
on. Let me just double check my damage here. Yes.
Yeah, do your damage.
Whack. Less than my punch to the face, but...
That's actually enough to lop its head off.
And the giant glowy axe goes snicker snack, snicker snack.
I didn't write that particular sound effect into the narrative, but sure.
Okay. I think does it just crumple to the ground? Does anything happen when the head comes off? Does water come from the neck stump?
Water comes from the neck stump, but the body doesn't disintegrate or anything like that. Incidentally, it's seawater.
I'm just sort of looking at the blade and looking at the severed head in the stomach. Like, that's kind of gross.
That's nasty.
And then can I move?
You can.
Whoop. Huzzah.
Okay. You will be able to do that. It is going to Actually, it's going to make a longsword attack at you and a breath weapon at the cleric.
Okay.
The longsword at you first. Hits, so take 5 damage.
4 hit points left. Hooray!
Breath weapon at the cleric. Critical fail. You're not in Thunderwave range. I am. Oh, what can we say happens to it?
Turn me. Number 2.
Yes, I think it's out of position because it actually was trying to focus on the cleric. Then you showed up, and it was perhaps a little bit concerned, and it's perhaps over-egged the pudding there. So, yeah, I guess it's prone.
Knock prone.
It's fallen flat on its face because it's overbalanced trying to stab you to death.
Huzzah!
So, congratulations, Pete. Your imminent mortal wound helped.
Yay! I was useful.
Number 3 is going to try. It has to spend its action standing up, I think. Actually, no, it can use its movement to stand up, and it's going to attack. So it will make a longsword attack. And misses. Breath on Amy's character, misses. But it is on its feet again. Cleric is going to... can see that you're actually really struggling, Pete.
Okay.
And gives you 6 hit points worth of fiery healing.
It burns my beard, but it feels good.
Amy, it's Violetta's turn.
Okay, so I will use my quarterstaff as a melee weapon, and I will strike the third one.
I'm going to give you a common sense thing because I don't think you necessarily know this about a spell. You can cast Shillelagh on it as a bonus action prior to an attack. And,
it's prior. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. I was going to mention, can I do that? But I didn't know if it was a bonus action after or.
You can do it. Well, you can do a bonus action before or after, but it is a bonus action, so you can cast it.
Yeah.
I was just wondering why you had not been using your staff and Shillelagh. So yes, you cast that.
I only just got Shillelagh, actually.
Yes, I know, but I was meaning in this fight.
Oh, in this. Oh, okay.
You're in melee range.
I know. Just like, I don't know why. I just like when I play a spellcaster, I just like to use the spells. So yeah, quarterstaff. So I will try to strike it.
Okay, before you do that,
yes,
when you cast Shillelagh on it,
yes,
the staff actually grows in your hand slightly. It becomes more bulky and organic feeling in that it is actually more like the bough of a tree. Obviously, not. It's still small enough to be accommodated by your hand, but it feels less like crafted wood so much as it feels like it's grown to this length and shape, and it feels like the bough of a tree, which is not necessarily just a pure cylinder, but it's sort of like bulbous in some places. And more importantly than that, a head appears on the top of it.
Oh, okay. What does the head look like?
It is a wolf with antlers.
I knew there were antlers. Okay. I'll write this down. Sorry.
Yeah. The staff is not changing back, incidentally. The Shillelagh will wear off in its normal time, but the staff will not change back.
Okay. Oh, okay. Right. Well, so I will attempt to strike it with the wolf's head, I guess.
Okay. You know that you roll your d20.
Yes.
You add 2, and you add your spellcasting modifier, and you add 1. I mean, to be honest, that was an unnecessary explanation given you got an 18 because that's a hit.
Yeah, 18. So plus it would be +3, so it's +4.
Is that for your spellcasting modifier?
So it changes from a yes, that's right. So it's a plus. So it's a +3 because it's it's +4 because it's wisdom. Wisdom, right?
Yes. And you get a +1 because it's a +1 staff.
So it would be a 5. So +5
to your damage, yes.
Okay.
So
So I'd roll. It changes the damage from a D6 to a D8.
depends if you're wielding it with both hands. I would say you'd have to be wielding it one-handed because you have been spell casting.
Right. Okay. No, that's fine. So that plus 5.
5. If you want to next turn, you can wield it with both hands.
Okay.
Okay.
On a side note, one of the easiest ways to end Shillelagh is to let go of the weapon.
Yes, that's also true.
Okay. I'll bear that in mind.
Yeah, that cracks it across the face, and it staggers pretty something awful. It's still standing, but it looks like it's on its last legs.
Okay.
Number 1 is dead. Number 2 is in front of you two. So it's going to, again, it's going to try a stabby thing at.
It's prone.
You're right. And actually, sorry, Pete, it's your turn. Sorry, I skipped over you in the order I had on my whiteboard.
So there's the 1d2 for you, because I'm using the axe, and I presume that's a side effect of the axe?
That is a side effect of the axe. It glows white when the moonlight strikes it. You get advantage on this attack again.
It's prone, I get advantage anyway, but...
Yes, well...
20 is the highest.
Okay, it's not a critical, but yes, it obviously hits.
Seven, and then if that doesn't finish it off, I will stomp on its head with an unarmed strike.
This one's not taking much damage, in fact.
Okay.
But yes, you can make an unarmed strike as part of your normal. You still have 1 Kai point left if you want. Chi, Kai, whatever.
Key, I will keep hold of that because I never know what's going to happen next.
Yes, the boss fight.
So 22 to hit.
Why did you roll 2d20s there?
Because it's still prone.
You're quite right, it is still prone. That hits. Roll your damage.
Whack!
Yep, that's a pretty solid crack on that. The elven lady nods in approval and gestures at the prone creature. Oh wow!
It explodes.
She just got a crit on her spell attack, so it very well might. Let's see how much damage she did with her firebolt cantrip. She did 17. Yes, it very much explodes. Let's see.
Soggy, misty, salt water everywhere.
Yeah, 13 hit points more damage than it actually could take. That body very much explodes. And given that it was uninjured until you two started fighting, well done. Because you did 14 and she did 17. But that was a critical strike. That leaves only 1, which is standing, and it is going to try and, it's only got Amy in front of it, so it's going to try its stabby death, first of all. That one's going to hit, and it's going to do 5 damage to you, slashing.
Okay.
And it misses again with its breath attack.
So the swamp water, I mean, do I know if it's going to have a lasting effect, or is it just kind of like in a...
You don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
Oh, the cleric went out of order there. Ultimately doesn't make any difference to the combat, so I'm fine with that. Amy, it's your turn.
Okay, so I will, as it's just hit me, I will hit back again with... Does the shillelagh just continue? Like, does it just continue on?
Spell lasts for a minute.
For a minute, yeah. Okay, so I will attack it again with that. So 16.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay. So it's I didn't say it was two-handed. So nope, it's fine. I'll just roll d6 plus 5. 9.
Okay, that's a pretty solid hit. I mean, it's not.
Hang on a second. It's 1d8 because that's the weapon's damage now with using Shillelagh.
Oh yes, of course you're right.
Which
Oh, so
incidentally, if you're using the quarterstaff two-handed, it's 1d8 as well. So
you might as well use it one-handed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well remembered, Pete.
You're welcome.
I did think that was the case, but I haven't got it written down in front of me, so I wasn't going to question it. I just thought, oh, okay, I'll just go with the flow. Okay, same.
Okay. Yeah, it's not as spectacular as an explosion as the one on number 2. But yeah, you ram the or are you ramming the staff at it? Are you clubbing it?
So I'm kind of almost using it like as if it's like being brought down on it.
Okay.
Really fast. So yeah, it's kind of just a
Okay, actually, to be honest, with the squelchiness of the thing you're attacking, that's a fairly legitimate sound effect. Yeah, you bring the staff down onto your opponent, and it crushes the creature's head with seawater sort of like leaking everywhere. And the body sort of like slumps forward onto its knees and then just falls past you, sort of like brushing you as it goes down. It's cold. Very, very cold. They all are, obviously.
Yeah.
Is everyone all right?
I'm sort of brushing scratches and half-healed stab wounds off myself. I've been better, but I'll be fine.
I'm not too good, to be honest.
I believe I can help. Pete, I think you're looking worse for wear, so
I'm on half health, yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow, that was another poor roll. You're getting another 4 hit points, Pete.
Ooh, okay. Sorry, I just dropped my pen.
And Amy, you are getting 11. Sorry, Pete.
You're fine. You're fine. I'm not jealous or angry. It's fine.
He says jealously and angrily. Okay. You notice at the back of the deck, like you've got. Let's go back to some drawing. Okay, so let's see if this actually works. So that's sort of like the aft castle where you've got the wheel is up here and you've got sort of like stairs there. You also have a door here. You can see that actually it's covered over by a grate, but there is sort of like access to the hold through this, but at the moment there's sort of like metal grate on it that you can pull back and you could lower cargo and things in there. And it's an open deck behind the wheel. And you've got a tiller up there as well. Yeah, this is my arty skills.
Can we leave the investigation for next time? Perhaps?
If you like. Are you wanting to call it for just now, given the time?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Right. I want to investigate very thoroughly, so.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. We will leave the investigation of this rotting, potentially infested with monsters ghost ship until the next time.
When you say potentially infested with ghost monsters, what you actually mean is it is infested with ghost monsters.
It is absolutely, definitely infested with things much more dangerous than the mooks you just killed, and the priestess has just blown all of her healing spells.
Oh, joy.
Don't worry, she still has her firebolt cantrip because she's a high elf.
And dang it. Hang on. Wait for it. And also, we have most of a dwarf face. There we go. Hang on. I'll try and get the other horn. There we go. There's his other horn. Yeah.
When you say horns, that's not how you spell banana.
It's a balloon animal, I'll have you know, but
Okay.
MSP skills have failed me.
Yeah, I think that's a roll 1 on your artistic skill, isn't it? Actually, no, we can still kind of tell what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can still kind of tell. Okay, I think we will, in that case, because we've been going for about 3 hours, we will draw it to a close and we will leave the investigation till the next session. Thank you for listening. Thank you for playing, folks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
No, let's not have